I don't know if we should be laughing or not, Steve.
I for one welcome our new masters, Dave. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I can't wait for the time I replace you with an AI. I'll just have a podcast.
That's right. Just talking
to an AI.
Yeah, for sure.
You're fired.
But
G'day Steve, g'day mobilers. Welcome to a special episode of the Reclaim podcast. How are you feeling, Steve?
Yeah, I'm good today, Dave. How are you doing?
Excellent. I love the topic we're about to talk about. And I thought, let's jump in and have a little conversation about that.
Yeah, I'm wondering why you love it so much, Dave. I'll get to that.
It's been a passion of mine, from very, very young, just engineering, computing, computers, and then now AI and all this. So it's fascinating. There's pro and cons, but it's a fascinating topic that's changing the world literally. And so in case you're wondering what we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about AI. So the reason for that is a couple of days ago, the World Mobile account on X published a little video tutorial on how to stake. And it was a video of a young, beautiful lady that was explaining us all about staking. And people enough picked up on the fact that she may or may not be real. What do you reckon, Steve?
Yeah, she's definitely not real. I sort of picked up on that pretty much instantly. It was like, this is one of these AI things. So, yeah.
Correct. And the accent was a little strange as well.
Yeah, the accent is hard to place. Yeah,
so I'm
for
not
me
sure.
anyway.
For those who haven't seen it, I'm just going to share it with you guys and show you this video here. So that was the post, and I'm just going to play.
For staking WMTx on EVM, you'll need a MetaMask wallet or any self-custodial Web3 wallet. For staking WMTx on Cardano, you'll need to stake via the vault using Eternal, Lace, Typhon, Nami, or other self-custodial wallets.
She actually sounded slightly South African at one point, and then it switched.
Is it?
And, Eternal sounded like a toenail or something. Eternal or something.
Yeah, it was actually spelled wrong.
Eternal,
okay. Yes. I think a lot
it's
of
spelled
people
wrong deliberately in the application.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. But that was like eternal. Like it was actually spelled correctly, but wrong to the application. But
right.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you think? Like, does she look real?
I picked up on it straight away. I'm not sure if I'm picking up on just the voice. I mean, you can still sound that, hear that kind of computerized sort of, I don't know, it seems like a certain vibration or something, or some kind of frequency where the tone is oscillating or something.
But it's definitely getting close.
But yeah, I mean, it's certainly, it's fine, it's understandable.
It's getting close. So we had some, all sort of feedback by the community. Some people were, liked it and said, look, we have to embrace AI. AI is here, it's here to stay. Others says, no. I remember someone was saying that, Well Mobile is all about connecting people, real people, so we need to keep things real. So yeah, a lot of, different opinions, and they all,
I don't think there's anything wrong with giving it a try. I mean, we're all sort of exploring this kind of AI stuff, as it progresses. It's, I kind of have this sense that people are going to get quite annoyed with it as it gets closer to being human, or indistinguishable. But then once it's completely indistinguishable, then I don't think it's going to matter as much. But right now, it's like, it's kind of in this awkward stage where you feel something is off.
To me, so this whole topic of AI or fake avatar, I've been playing a lot with Grok, with ChatGPT, and the voices, they are just amazing and just improves by the week. to a point that it sounds so human. So it's got a laugh, it's got poses, it's got, like a character to it. And I'm fine with this because if I consciously decide I want to have fun with it, I'll just pull off, ChatGPT, and I'll have a fun conversation with my kids, and we try to trick ChatGPT and all this kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but so it's super useful. When I'm driving, I turn on ChatGPT because my kids ask me, what is the distance to the moon, and so it's so easy. Pull out a ChatGPT and just ask it. As you drive, it's so much easier. I love
and just hope it's giving you the right information.
Correct. Yeah. No, but like we do this. Like actually, as we drive, we go for a half an hour or an hour drive. We know we can have some time, so we talk about psychology, about all these kind of things, and I interact with my kids, and it's a lot of fun. But my point is, if I am in control of it, so I consciously decided I'm going to use AI, and I'm perfectly fine with it because I know it is AI. I think where it gets a little tricky is when you're actually not aware, or someone is trying to trick you that you are talking to an AI. So when we talk about customer support, for example, I'm perfectly fine if I know it's not an AI. I'm fine if I know it's a bot, and I'm going to ask a question and say, hey, I want to know what is the the monthly fee for this specific plan. Because all I'm after is an answer. I don't care whether it's a human or...
I think even with this sort of support, I think as long as it's actually fulfilling the need and providing the information, and it's not like a struggle to get the right information out of it or something like that, well, I don't care as long as it's giving me what I need.
Which is what...
And as long as there's always an option to sort of jump out of it and say, look, this is not working for me, give me a human or some other system.
Yeah. 100%. So, look, I think I'm gonna share a little something here. So, it was quite actually amazing because I built that little presentation on Figma, and I just realized they just released a beta feature, and I was writing the title of this presentation, which was how the conversation started. So, how did we get started with this whole AI thing? And that's from the post on X. And I noticed on the right-hand side, Figma offers you a tool here where you can drag that little red dot and make your text sound more professional, more concise, more casual, or expanded. So I just tried it. So this is what I wrote, how the conversation started. And I went, make it, I think, more concise, or maybe more professional. And it goes, initiation of the discussion. Then more concise, it went conversation beginning. Casual, how the chat began. And expanded was, let's delve into the origin of the chat and explore. So look, I mean, AI is right here all the time, right next to you. Is this a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Look, I don't know.
I think it's fine. When the ChatGPT sort of first really hit the mainstream there, I think it was 3 or 3.5, I can't remember. But anyway, when it first started, I mean, it's these large language models are very good at text and this sort of thing. And I started thinking, well, one of the things I thought about was because it's so good at this language and this sort of fluff writing or expanding or making things concise, I sort of felt like, oh, this is great, because I think eventually people are going to switch off. As soon as they start to see fluffy writing, they're going to go, oh, this is probably AI. I don't really care. Give it to me in point format. Let's get to the point. I'm hoping things could become a little bit more efficient. So, I don't see much point in using AI to have long-winded, sort of things. But in terms of helping some people to write stuff, I mean, maybe that's good for like books and things of that nature, where maybe you want something a bit more descriptive and long-winded. But when you're dealing with things like a PowerPoint, for example, or work meetings or whatever else it is, so I think hopefully we'll push more into people valuing actual ideas behind things rather than just, producing fluff. That's my hope.
I've got an issue with producing fluff because, I mean, information is the point of information or language is to actually carry information from A to B. So if I have, a certain idea in my head, and I just expand it into a lot of fluff to send it to B will then have to recompress it.
That's
whether
right.
whether it's a human that compresses it or an AI that actually, we're going to end up with AIs that just decompress and compress, and it's not efficient way of communicating. So AI is definitely beneficial in many places. I think it has to be used in places that really matter. And looking at a little statistics, we need to understand how does that impact actually world mobile, and that's the approach that I want to take in this little chat here. Is first to think that AI is everywhere. 150 million people use voice assistants nowadays. I remember that the time, maybe it was 5 or 7 years ago, where there's a lot of skeptic around the Siri or Alexa or Google, and thinking, it's just a fad. People always love to type on Google, to do a Google search. And I think it did take a little while to ramp up, but nowadays I think a lot more people, get the quick information from voice assistants, and that's half of the population. And what's funny is that 70% of people actually use AI-powered services, because AI is everywhere. So, I just wrote down here: TV, vacuum cleaners, washing machine, fitness watches, checkouts. Everything's got AI nowadays.
There's lots of stuff. Even pizza delivery stuff. There's a lot of. I know that we're trialing some AI stuff in there. It's probably standard by now, but it was even predicting when pizzas would be ordered or how many pizzas of each type would be needed, and they kind of apparently had them ready to go to be delivered even before somebody had ordered them. And sure enough, the orders come in, and they can speed up the delivery time. So probably a little bit of wastage, but apparently it was very good. So I'm sure it's being used in all sorts of ways we're not even aware of.
Correct. It's everywhere, and now with the models actually becoming so compact, we can start having them on even smaller devices. So because obviously one of the issue is edge AI requires a lot of power, but as they get compact, you can cram them in more tools and devices. So, but so these statistics here that was interesting was that 77% of things that people use every day are somehow embedded with AI, but only 33% of people think that they are. So there's a big disconnect. So you may not know it. Look, we're recording this podcast now on a platform that's just full of AI. It's once I finish the recording, it will just do an AI transcript. AI will adjust the the sound, the volume, and all this kind of stuff. It's just
help with the editing.
It's just everywhere. And so I wanted to show actually how well mobile actually uses AI, and really that's on top of my head. Where when I think AI, I think James Tagg, because he's the figure out here in World Mobile, just playing with these kind of things. He's done a fantastic pieces of work, actually leveraging quantum gravity computer, an IBM computer. But for example, that's one little thing that he's been doing in San Diego, the University of California, San Diego, alongside the Qualcomm Institute. They actually created a custom antenna for the purpose of having a much improved range and also in terms of radio spectrum band. And I think that antenna was the one also that was hooked up onto the aerostat over in the US. I could be wrong, but it was a custom antenna that allowed them to reach 154 kilometer radius. But if you look closely, you see that piece of copper there, Steve?
What I see it looks like pink scribble or something.
It is actually that. That's actually
Okay, it's
the
not an
shape of the
edited
antenna.
photo.
No. So that's what AI came up as the best design for the antenna in terms of having the best ability to emit and receive.
Okay, is that all that pink stuff you're talking about?
Yes,
Is it pink? Yeah, and it's kind of
I think it's copper or whatever it is.
quite
It's
squiggly.
some sort of metal.
Yeah, I don't think the image is high enough resolution for me to see it clearly, but anyway. Yeah.
And I clearly remember seeing this, and I was like, "Wow, this is so weird." But effectively, a human brain would have tried to come up with some, rectangular shape or something a little bit more, I guess, align with what we're used to see. But AI's constraints was to improve, to optimize on range or optimize on spectrum. And it said, well, now this is the best way to optimize it. And it did a little scribble thing, and that antenna was actually extremely successful. And if you remember, it was, it did connect a lot of people, and then they've put it up on the roof, and it worked extremely well. So that's one example that AI is used in World Mobile to actually engineer those antennas.
There was a talk at the university recently. Where the sort of freedom that 3D printing sort of manufacturing gives you. So there was a guy that was building an antenna system and using 3D and AI and getting an interesting sort of shape as well to sort of improve. And also sort of how you can build it via 3D printing.
And I remember that very first also AI generated a car chassis. A chassis needs to be optimized for rigidity, for lightness, for strength, for whatever, and the AI just came up with an actual organic shape. You would think, why?
It's not too surprising to me that it is more of a organic looking system or shape, that it reflects a lot of biological systems in their sort of shape. Just because it's kind of an evolutionary process or selective process as well. Maybe you're starting with some basic form that you give it, and then it's kind of probably making random perturbations, random changes, testing, and then tweaking it again. And so I think there's probably some similarity between the way things sort of develop in nature and the way AI would go about the same kind of process. And so, I'm not too surprised you end up with these more organic type of looking structures.
But it makes me think that there could be something wrong with us, Steve, because I don't know. We tend to think very linear and very straight. Like if I was to engineer a bicycle. To me, the frame's like I need to go from the handlebar to the seat, so I'll just draw a straight line. But is this the most efficient? I think we did tend, and I mean, humans tend to think maybe what would I say? I don't know, case of simplicity. Do we just go straight from A to B? We don't have that.
I think with our conscious thinking, we tend to be fairly. We try to keep things simple, it seems, but there's a lot of brain processing or stuff that goes on in the background that is actually much more complex that AI can't handle, not as well. So, you think of all the information you're processing. You and I just sitting here, looking at the screen, figuring out what's going on, what reality is, feeling my hands, and everything that's going on is. There's a lot of processing going on there, and that's much more complex thinking. Whereas, when we tend to focus on a subject more consciously and go, I just want to design a little thing here, we seem to generally keep it simple.
That's fascinating. So a few more use cases here that at World Mobile where AI is or will be used. One of them is recently, and then I forgot what that was, but Mickey spoke about this, that was maybe Emmanuel, about a fraud call blocking system. And World Mobile is going to implement this. As I understand, it's even before the call reaches you. So they'll be able to detect before the routing of the call, to detect whether that call is from a source that is most likely a spammer, so of a fraud.
So I'm pretty sure there's already systems doing this. There certainly seems to be. There are systems that, try and detect spam and filter them out, right? But my understanding was that there was also going to be something like the business could register on chain, and there's some sort of pre-approval so that we know messages or emails or whatever it is from this particular company are legit.
That's a different aspect of it. So with the GSMA, World Mobile will work on that, and will actually allow users to receive so it was a business name and a business icon right on the phone, and all verified on chain. So you know that when you receive a phone call from Microsoft,
and the logo and stuff pops up on your phone.
Correct.
Then
it's
you
legit.
know for sure this is legit. That'll be fantastic.
But I don't think that involves AI as much as this system here, where they're talking about. So Google, I've got a Google Pixel, and it does warn me. It says, hang on, this looks a bit suspicious. This could be. So Mickey was explaining that this is leveraging of a database of numbers that are known and that are being manually, flagged as being spams.
Okay.
Where they're going the step further.
So it's not AI; it's just looking at a known list and going, "This is
correct,
not a good
like
one."
a blacklist.
Okay.
Yeah. Where they will be able to actually pick up based on behaviors. Like, hang on, this number has been calling different countries, or the average duration of the call is 0 because people hang up, they don't pick it up. Whatever it is, I don't know what the logic behind it, but it's a proprietary system that will allow for that fraud, blocking, really. So that's something exciting. And I think Emmanuel jumped out as well and said that HD1, so the Hex Guardian project, will also use leverage of AI for the governance, in understanding, making a decision making on the profitability and the benefits of networks. So not much information was said by Emmanuel, but I think what I understand from it is, if I was to come and say, hey, I'm proposing to build up a network here in that region, I think that AI will be able to kind of look at and process all the known data around the actual coverage, the usage, population, and overlay all this data and come up with recommendation whether it is actually going to be a good business case to actually put some antennas here and there. I don't know.
I think that makes sense, and also be able to do things you'd imagine, like analyze where would be the best place if you can get access to those locations for mounting towers and stuff, or air nodes and such, that this would be probably the most optimal layout, and that kind of thing. I imagine it would handle pretty easily.
Yeah, because you need to balance, obviously, look at the cost versus the benefits. So the beauty of the World Mobile business model is that we go out where there is a need, simply because those people have been forgotten. But still, I think being able to evaluate what is the most efficient way of doing it is really really important. We're approaching those realms where actually James Tagg is working on those as well, organoids. So they are stem cells that have been grown into brain cells, plugged onto with an input output to on the chipset basically, and attached to a robot. And they told that robot to say, go out and try and walk, and apparently it managed to learn walking a lot more efficiently, as if it instead of as if it was a much better than if it was an AI model. So there's also obviously some sort of efficiency there, and this is a new field as well that's going to
Yeah, it's been going
Could
on
be
for quite a
mind-blowing.
while, this sort
Yeah,
of stuff. But I think, like everything, it advances based, I'm sure the recent AI advances are affecting this field a lot. Yeah. But I've
So,
seen robots like maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago or something that were like using an eel brain inside a robot, and it was, controlling the robot and running away from light, and because eels tend to do that as well. So, yeah. It's been going for quite a while, but it's always advancing.
we're at the point of commercialization. I think it's actually an Australian company.
Yeah, there was
that commercialized,
that one, yeah.
like your desktop, basically. That has a living brain in it that you can use for computations. Like, okay, I'll buy one of these. It's crazy, man.
Kind of a bit weird. But yeah, desktop system. I don't know how well they're selling or whatever, but yeah, that was quite interesting. Yeah,
it's not on your supermarket shelves, right now, but we'll.
But it's
I don't know what the
thing is that it was, in a form factor that it just looks like, just buy one, have one at home, sit on your desktop.
Yeah. And the last topic here I could think of is really the call center, and Mickey touched on this as well, where. If we're going to connect 1 billion people, think about the call center, the need for support, I guess. I don't think we'll have enough people, like manpower, to offer a one-on-one, human-to-human, call center experience. And I think there's no way we can achieve it without AI. So,
this has been happening already in industry for quite a bit. I think it was somewhere on the order of maybe 5 years ago. I saw NVIDIA released, maybe not quite 5 years, but they released some kind of server tower, essentially, that was like the size of a fridge. And they said this replaces something like, a call center of 50,000 or 100,000 people or whatever it was. And it was like, wow, things are really pushing along. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was listening
to... Just got to power it all, Dave.
Yeah. Listening to Mark Zuckerberg's interview lately, just 2 or 3 days ago, and he actually mentioned that, between, I think, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook, they have like 3.5 billion customers. And is like, there's no way we can have the ultimate support center without leveraging AI. And he's actually thinking of implementing voice. So he says we're at that stage where voice is that good that we could now, instead of the little chat bot on the bottom right corner of your screen, people will actually call up and speak to someone. And this is what Mickey wants to implement as well. And I think that's fantastic, because if it's, back to my earlier point, if you know that it is going to be an AI that is speaking to an AI, really doesn't really matter as long as you're being given the information you're looking for. Obviously, if certain things cannot be handled.
As long as it works, that's the key.
Yeah, definitely. But it's right now you could make it work easily if I was just to talk to ChatGPT and I inject into ChatGPT's all the knowledge of world mobile troubleshooting and use case like
you can easily build very specific language models for a particular application and stuff. People are doing that all over the place at the moment, but it's all most of the stuff I've seen is in chat based, text based.
Yeah, it's text based. So now we're moving into voice based, and I think that's the next step where we
personally
can,
dealing with some help stuff myself. I think I would say like 70% of the time, roughly, for me, it's been good. But then there's that 30% where I'm like, I'm trying to get information that's just I'm not able to get out of it,
it's not,
or not understanding what I'm saying. It keeps offering me different solutions. Like, no, and that gets frustrating.
No, I get it. And if you want a good glimpse of what's to come, I would recommend the Netflix series called Black Mirror. That is scarier. But it is, it is actually so close to what's
Well, the
going
thing
to
is,
happen.
it's only going to get better, right? I mean, and
Correct. That's it.
It's
only
getting
gets
a lot better already, and it's happening very fast. When it first came out, this, like I said, this Chat GPT 5 and stuff, or no, sorry, 3.5, whatever it was. One of the other thoughts I had was, 10 years, there's going to be no movie industry. It's all going to be movies generated on the fly. You'll just, give it some prompts. Oh, I'd like a movie about this. Mate, I've got an hour and 50 minutes. I want X, Y, Z, and then it would just generate it on the fly and do it. And I was thinking maybe that's 10 years away. And, a couple of years later, I'm thinking, maybe it's only,
it keeps
another couple of
closer.
years. Maybe total it's going to be 5 years away from that point. So, yeah, it's increasingly sophisticated.
I reckon
much more rapidly than I thought.
Yeah, we're only 1 year away from that.
It's I don't know about one, but yeah, to be anyway. We'll see.
Not as a consumer product, but as an ability. I mean, right now,
I think it's possible. I mean, I think it's close to being possible now, but whether it's good enough that people are going to enjoy it and be comfortable with it and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think we will at some point. But like everything,
and having the processing power. I mean, that's if you've got an entire population of the planet occasionally wanting to watch a movie, that's a lot of people wanting to generate movies on the fly, and whether that processing is cost effective or worthwhile is another thing.
Well, I've got some slider on this, but power consumption is going to go through the roof, literally. We so underestimate this big time, I think. I mean, this is just a little chart on the impact of AI in terms of network utilization. So the power is one thing, but network utilization is another thing. So, every time I use my ChatGPT, I'm sending out data, so that there's a lot of upload. And now 4.0 has even a bigger context window. So that's the ability to send a lot more data into your prompt. That context window is increased massively now with, I think, billion tokens, and we're sending this over. Then the AI processes it and then sends back a result. Like, this is a lot of traffic, because I'm pointing out here, like most AI rely on cloud-based inference. So we still, the big compute happens online on the cloud. Edge AI is getting there, but there's still limitation, in terms of storage, thermal constraints, battery, and all this. It's still, there is obviously some local inference done, for example, on your Tesla car, but your mobile phone isn't going to be able to cater for that, and having a battery that's going to sustain it. So look at this line here. This is in the US, the mobile data usage.
It's not slowing down. It looks like the beginning of an exponential function.
I know it is.
Like it's only going to get worse or better, whichever way you want to look at it.
So that's monthly usage. Like, look at it. Like we went from 2 exabytes to now, I think, just close to 10, and that's 2023. And I think I remember Miki mentioning that data, like mobile data, increases by 40% a year.
That's crazy.
It's huge. So, the world of telecom is definitely needed. World mobile has a big task ahead. The current networks can't cope with that that need for bandwidth and for usage. So I think the more we deploy out there, the more we can actually help the network cope with this AI craze that's like a massive wave coming onto us. And talking about waves, and you mentioned this, Steve, that this looks like the beginning of an exponential. Something very interesting is that I think again nature is such that we have a very hard time in processing exponentials. we think a lot linearly. Where if I tell you, where you're going to be tomorrow, you have an idea. You say, well, pretty much like today, but not much difference from today. This is where I will be tomorrow. You
very
can't
much
expect,
like how I thought movies would be doable in 10 years. So it's probably going to be more
Correct.
like 3 or 4 or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we tend to think linearly in terms of progress. And so just to illustrate this, if you do 30 steps, so just 30 steps of 1 meter, and you think about it linearly, it's very easy to comprehend. It's okay, I do 30 steps. Each step is 1 meter. So every day I step 1 meter. In 30 days, I'm 30 meters away. And that we can comprehend this. But if I'm telling you that each step is actually twice as good as the previous step. So the first step would be 1 meter, but all of a sudden tomorrow I would have improved my systems. And this is what's happening with AI, because now we get AI to generate better AIs, generate better systems and systems that improve on their own. We go from 1 meter to 2 meters to 4 meters. And in just 30 steps, we would end up with a 1 billion meters away. So that's 24, 26 times around the world. It's just, monumental. So, and we see it, for example, in the data centers huge supercomputers. So XAI has built, I think, a supercomputer with 100,000 GPU cluster. Well, that's 100,000 was actually, mind blowing, because last year's was only 20,000 was the best. And now people are, I think whether it's Facebook or Microsoft, they're talking about a 200,000 cluster. I think even talking about a 400,000 cluster. But, if we keep doubling like this, it just takes in 2 years' time where we will be at.
Yeah, well, we're going to need efficiency improvements as well along the way. Otherwise, we won't get there. It'll be too much power draw.
Correct, yes.
Or we need to solve fusion power generation or something.
Well, actually, funny that AI is actually helping with this.
Yeah.
So I think we are creating the tool that allow us to create the tool, like to be self-sufficient in our quest for, I don't know what it is, but for infinite growth.
Infinite data generation.
Yeah. I don't know if you think about it. Sometimes I think about, we all, I post a lot on X, so I generate content. So content start here in my brain. I got an idea. I was like, I better create this, and I'm creating whatever, an image or actually some sort of content, and I put this online, and I'm like, did I just litter the internet? Did I just add more blob and fluff to it?
I think the littering has already happened.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff already out there. Yeah.
I know, but
you're just creating more. Yeah.
We are creating, and our capacity of just to think is forever increasing the amount of bytes that we are pushing literally onto hard drives. You'd think this is like a massive transfer of brain explosion into physical hard drives, that we thought, it's a good thing that we actually save this somewhere. The Internet Archive is there as well to keep the whole history of it. But
are you wondering if we really need to do some pruning? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I know. Or is it just a transfer of energy? So are we just transferring that brain energy into another form of energy that kind of accumulates and compound into creating, for example, AI? Because AI has to be trained on something. So my input into world mobile information every day or whatever I put on X, that obviously that feeds Grok, and Grok is capable of answering someone else, because I've pushed this data. I've said, we've got a 1.82, I think, million users on the network now. But yeah, so back to that exponential topic, it's crazy. I think where we're heading, and I think it's no longer a debate whether we should or not embrace AI. There's no
there's no choice really.
No choice.
It's like any kind of technology. Once the cat's out of the bag, it's going to be used. It's just a matter of how it gets used and what sort of government regulations, if any, are put in place, and who controls it, and yep.
Yeah, it is a fascinating world, and so the impact of this, and I always think about AI when I think about people who are not connected, so the people who don't have access to the internet. And to me, it's like thinking that you cannot have access to those tools, to those AI tools, is just mind blowing, because and obviously very sad, because we are forever, increasing our velocity into jumping into living in a world full of AI, as we've just seen. That are we creating really such a gap that someone that doesn't have access to the internet is being left behind, at even an exponential rate almost.
Yep, it's just create. If people don't have access, it will create an even stronger divide between the haves and the have-nots, right?
Yeah,
but my concern is every technology, right? Every kind of technology that people can leverage does that, but
you think
this is a new paradigm. This being able to outsource thinking. I don't know that I'd exactly call it thinking, but well, let's just stick with AI for now.
Yeah, maybe the adoption of cars. Let's say if you go to someone that doesn't have access to a car, to someone that has access to a car. Well, in the last 15, 20, 30, 40 years, the difference of not having a car and having a car, I think, hasn't changed much. Not having a car, you walk at 5k an hour. Having a car, you can go 100.
Where you live.
100.
If you live in the city,
you can go 100k an hour. But what I mean is that the car hasn't gone a lot faster. Okay, it has improved in terms of efficiency and whatever it is, but to go from A to B, you still
not
need
exponentially. I'm not driving around at millions of kilometers an hour. Unfortunately.
One day you will. I know. I did drive very fast one day, hence I lost my week. But now the speed at which we are actually going is actually with AI is exponential. So the divide from not having a car to having a car is stayed kind of linear, but with AI we are leaving people behind at an exponential rate, and I think that's what really motivates me to get out there.
It's exponential for now, right? But most technology follows the S curve. I'm sure you've seen.
Yes.
Have you seen an S curve? So usually you're running into some kind of limits at some point. Whether it's the size that you can manufacture transistors, or if it's whatever it is, or energy consumption, and the availability of energy, whatever it is, and AI will probably be similar. I don't think it'll stay exponential, forever.
Yeah, but on that. So we will plateau after that S curve. Will plateau, but
it'll be exponential later on, but it'll be in a decay phase, or
but what
tail off.
What is it going to be too late? By the time we realize, all these people will be left behind after that exponential curve, whether we plateau or not. I think it'll be too late. It's just such a transformative, technology.
I don't know if you've read a lot of science fiction novels, Dave, but
no.
What often there's a common theme that pops up every pretty often in these books, and because it's looking into the future and this sort of stuff, and often what happens you see is that the sort of human population tends to split into the people that are happy to go along with all the technology and get implants and, adapt in that path and genetic engineering and whatever else. And then you have the more traditionalist branch where people reject all that and they, maybe they don't want the generated AI movies. They want to go back to doing theatre and having more of a live human experience, and you get this diversion of the human population where, you end up with your technophiles and your Luddites,
cyberpunk,
or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think? You think is that what's you think
what's
that
coming?
It's concerning you that we're going to get that regardless because of whether people have access or not?
No, I think so. We can live with both. Like I take myself, like I love art.
Variety's good.
So
I like variety.
I've done paint. There's this beautiful painting here, Well Mobile logo.
I
did it with
suspect
my
that's
own.
just an AI image.
No, that is
just
not.
put up.
I was there with my brushes. So I love painting and I love the art. So I also love playing the piano. I could just jump onto Suno and say, generate a piano song for me. But so we can live with both.
It's the same with my girls. I mean, so I send my girls to drawing classes and stuff.
Yeah.
They love it. They love their drawing and their painting and all this. And sometimes I question, is this? Okay, they're learning some motor skills and bits and pieces, whatever. But is this really a valuable use of their time, given that? That pathway is going to be dominated by, these AI systems. But
I think it's valuable. It's valuable, 100%.
It's still valuable. And I think, you still need to have a balance between being human and relying on all these systems,
Definitely. But it's more around, you will... it's like the calculator.
Doing stuff for yourself, yeah.
The calculator. You can just sit there and say, I'm going to do those calculations just to prove myself that I can do them. Or I've got a need to do that calculation quickly because I need to place this order. It needs to arrive tomorrow. You somehow need to have the tools to be efficient, or even without going to the efficiency way, but to be able to live in the society we are living today.
Well, I mean, my girls are fairly young. The ones I'm talking about, and I've not exposed them much at all to AI at this point, because I don't want them to get disheartened, right? I don't want them to see how quickly it can generate, a painting, an image, and how good it is, and it's just a computer doing it. I don't want them to see that and sort of go, oh, well, there's no point me, why am I spending all this time, drawing when I could just type a couple of words into the computer and have it generate it. So, I kind of think there should be some age controls on things to a degree. I certainly think it's going to help a lot with teaching and education. That's going to be very interesting to see that. I think that's going to be good. But I think, we have to be very careful, I think, about how we implement this stuff. We don't want to... because eventually, if you have so much of it and it goes, all the way down to, toddlers beginning learning through AI systems, then I think that will take something away from, from humans doing things themselves.
Yeah.
And if people become too reliant on these systems, then, it opens us up to other problems.
True. I mean, we've seen the blackout, for example, in Spain. There's no electricity. All of a sudden, we lose transport, we lose money, we lose everything.
Yeah, and there's things that can happen. We could have a super volcano go off, and then all of a sudden, game over, and everything changes. Or you get a massive solar flare, and it takes out all the transformers. Then you're in a world without this stuff. So there's certainly some risk to it as well.
There is, yeah, but I'm actually pretty much the opposite, where I expose my kids a lot more to AI, and more so.
Yours are a little bit older, and I think
a bit
that's
older,
kind of okay once they're a little bit older.
Yeah.
But I think when they're
I want
young,
them to understand what's out here, what's out there. So they still have to do whatever they must be doing. but I want them to know that it's there. I want them to understand where we're heading and what technology is available at hand. Because you can make very good use of it. Like as I was saying, my son is doing next year's level math on his own, just with ChatGPT. Just download the curriculum for the following year, give me examples, teach me lesson per lesson, and he's done the whole year already within 2 months. They're learning French using a Duolingo, and Duolingo is full of AI to understand your rate of progress. Or and CZ, for example, with his application, learning application that we've developed, they're deployed in Kenya. I'm pretty sure it's also leveraging AI into devising those lessons and things. So
yeah, look, I'm certainly not against AI in education. I think it's going to be fantastic, actually. But I think we need to be careful around at what age we introduce it and stuff.
The other point of reflection I had there was how well mobile can actually shield us from the AI abuse, because AI is, as we talked about, is fantastic, but who says AI says power? And if I look at the US telco giants that were actually fined almost $200 million for illegally selling real-time location data without consent, I'm thinking that, well, hang on, if these guys have access to AI and better tools every single day, forever improving, you give them the tools, the ability to really decipher, I think, a lot more information from our behaviors, from our GPS location, from a browsing history or voice command that we prompt on our phone.
And with all these apps that people are on scrolling through, YouTube Shorts or TikToks or whatever else, are just slowly in the background running tests, manipulating people, controlling content. All of this is a risk, right?
Yeah, but and I remember, for example, working for the largest Australian retailer, we had a program, a loyalty program, where every time you go and shop, you scan your card, and then we know exactly what you buy and where you buy it, when you buy it, and in which quantities you buy it. And that was, I think, even just 10 years ago. And we're starting to actually have, I don't think there were LLMs yet, but tools that could actually predict that this customer was most likely, for example, about to be pregnant based on the purchasing behavior.
Based on what they're buying. Mm-hmm.
Correct.
So what good is that information to one of these supermarkets?
Then we were sending out emails saying, hey, hang on, we've got those baby products coming up, and so forth.
Still to feed advertising. Yeah.
Correct. It was all and then on your card you would have a special offers, and those special offers are catered to you, specific to you. So because we know you're most likely going to need X, Y, and Z, then we can feed you this. And so imagine this. This was maybe 8 years ago, but now with AI and the ability to browse through not just now your purchasing habits, but everything else, your location and everything. I think the telcos have a humongous insight into us, into our lives. So the fact that mobile is...
It's not always correct, though.
What happened
for example, I'm not a big consumer of things. I don't like sort of buying and consuming a lot of stuff in general. And so I guess I'm not feeding the algorithm so much. So when something happens, like it was like a month ago now or something, my mother was interested in buying a tricycle, like a push bike tricycle. And so she didn't have her phone or whatever on her at the time we were chatting about it. And so I searched for it. And now I just for like the last few months, I'm getting inundated with these ads for tricycles. It's like, I don't really care. Leave me alone. Yeah.
You're going to end up buying one. Steve.
That's right. Before I know it, the garage will be stocked full of tricycles that I'll have. Oh, hey, what happened? Why did I suddenly feel the need
Why
for all
did I
these
buy?
tricycles?
That's AI for you, man. That's AI.
Yeah.
No, but it's true. So we have those hit and miss, and there's always that issue with, you have that signal of the purchasing signals. So I bought a fridge last week, and now all I'm seeing is those fridges, but
Yeah,
it's
it's
too
too
late.
late. I bought my fridge. What are you doing? I don't want another one for
Correct.
10 years, hopefully, Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But see, maybe it gets more advanced, you see. And so the sort of thing is, well, maybe it knows what model you bought, right? Maybe that information is there because maybe you bought it through an online, site, and they've sold on the information and stuff. And so maybe that gets connected. They know what model you bought. And then maybe in a couple of years' time, the AI starts to realize, okay, these models are experiencing these kinds of breakdowns. This is typically what's going wrong with that model. And this is the lifespan. And then when it comes, maybe the AI starts getting smarter about when to advertise things to you and like, hey, you might want to think about a new fridge now because your fridge is this old and these are the likely problems and and you don't want to be inconvenienced when this happens and blah blah.
So the fact that in the USA at least, World Mobile is pushing a VPN as a standard feature on all the plans. Is also encrypt all the data, and the data is yours. So privacy is a big thing, and I think. The topic of AI, it's forever a need to retain your privacy.
Yeah, and the other one is democratizing sort of access to these systems, right? So I don't know exactly what World Mobile is thinking with all of their AI stuff. I know they're sort of looking at Earth nodes running inference for. I don't know. Well, probably for World Mobile, but perhaps for other AI systems as well.
Yeah, I reckon we'll run possibly the inference for the call center. Because
that's a likely thing, and you can consider that a World Mobile application, right?
It is,
but it could be call center for other platforms and stuff that are running on the World Mobile chain for sure. But I wonder if there's, who knows? There'll be all sorts of things.
Even internally, I would bet, that our teams internally are using AI. So whether it's a Cursor or any of those AI code generating applications. So it's incredible. Now we are to the stage where. Your Copilot is no longer good enough because Copilot is providing you with, kind of finishing up your line of code or writing a few lines of code. But now we've got agentic applications, so coding tools where they actually take over your console, your terminal, and they themselves run. They spin up a server. They will spin up a test. They will rearrange files. They'll copy paste. So you're almost hands off. You can see your AI agent. Yes.
Maybe we're getting closer to that day where you sit back and mostly just talk at your computer while the AI does all the work 100%. In the background. I do think about these systems. So let's say you have a unique idea, some unique application you want to build, and then you start using these AI systems to build it, right? Then how much control do you end up having over that, and how do you protect any IP that you develop? It becomes, protecting IP of applications and stuff is very difficult anyway.
Yeah. It does generate if you working with a framework like Next.js or Node.js, React, it will generate your files. So you can go in and just amend those files manually if you want, but the thought process behind it and the whole coding is being done for you. It's iterated itself just by doing testing and validating does the test work. And we're at a space where...
the question is, at some point, who owns it? Like if the AI is doing most of the work,
just put
you start to run into these questions of, Yeah, it won't be long, and they'll be, coming up with ideas, writing applications, deploying them, testing them live on humans in throughout whatever system, and just iterating automatically, and looking for those killer apps or whatever's useful, and it'll be completely automated. There won't be a human involved.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, we still need humans because AIs can just, do whatever they want between themselves.
Do we though?
You can have two AIs talk to each other. That's fine. But there's no humans to benefit from it.
That's right. Did you see these stuff about the AIs talking to each other and developing their own communication, and it turns into sounds and stuff? I don't know if that was real.
I'm sure it happened. Because now, with the new type of AI that we've got that does a what do you call it? The deep search AI. So
DeepSeek. Is that
DeepSeek, yes, DeepSeek, where it generates an answer, and you can actually have a window where you can see the internal thinking, thought process of that AI.
Oh, the reasoning stuff.
The reasoning, that's it. It's a reasoning AI.
Yeah, I think that's what it's telling you, how it's reasoning. And there's some, it's following, it is following that to a degree, it seems. But there's also been some evidence to show that what AI will often tell you how it's doing things is not actually how it's doing things. It's just kind of
we've seen the reasoning,
you some text about how it's doing it, but then the reality behind the scene is different, and that it's not actually self-aware of how it's doing things sometimes.
And we have AIs now that lie to us. Because we program them for for a specific purpose, and they will achieve that. But so recently was a case of an AI, I think, hiring on Fiverr or something like this, hiring a human to pass a CAPTCHA test. For itself, and just totally just
and
forgot
convince
to
this
tell us
person that they were a real person or whatever. And needed some help
because
for
the goal
reason.
was to pass.
Saying they were disabled or something like this, and
I forgot what it was, because we're creating agent, and someone says agents mean agency, and if you have agency, then you can do whatever you want, basically. So I don't know if we should be laughing or not, Steve.
I for one welcome our new masters, Dave. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I can't wait for the time I replace you with an AI and just have a podcast.
That's right. Just talking
to an AI.
Yeah, for sure.
You're fired.
But at some point, I wonder who's going to watch this stuff. If all this content is being AI generated, and it's like you can generate it on the fly and it's instant, who's going to care? Who's going to pay any attention? Is it just going to be AIs watching AIs generate content and feeding each other applications and systems and
No, as I said...
are we just all at the beach,
Yeah. We still matter. Don't you worry. I think about that's a perfect way to end this conversation, where we started with a World Mobile posting a 30-second clip of an AI lady speaking to us about staking. So is this something we should be doing more of or less of? I don't know, but I think it is inevitable that
it's going to be used regardless. And no, I don't think there's anything wrong with exploring it and having a play around.
I mean, you can think about, they now have the ability to generate this in any language. So they want to do a French version of this, or depending on the market we're tapping into. So where is the efficiency?
Was it useful, do you think, Dave? Did you think
that's a different topic, but
that can come down to timing and all sorts of things. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the very first time they use it, so kudos for using it. I think, and then it's all about improving yourself and trying new technologies. And I think World Mobile itself should not be afraid of breaking barriers and trying to innovate.
You have to move with technology as a business. If you don't, you end up being a dinosaur, and you're not going to develop right? And you'll be left behind. And that's, that's part of what World Mobile is doing already. It's moving ahead with blockchain technology and incorporating that into telco and stuff. And so, there needs to be a company that's playing with the forefront of technology. You can't sit back and ignore it.
There we go. Thanks for the chat, Steve.
Yeah,
that was cool. I hope you learned a bit, or that sparked some thoughts. And wherever I think we sit on the whether we love AI, we hate AI. I think it's here to stay. Let's make the most of it. Let's remain human as well. We're here to connect, people.
I'll do my best.
Yes, please, Steve. Yeah, thank you very much, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks, Steve.
All right, see you, Dave.
See ya.
See you, everybody.